I've watched him for years talk about how the brothers disrespect the black queens. Sometimes I get a little nervous because I feel like this is gonna go wrong one day. It's gonna go wrong one day. You're gonna pick the right one, and it's gonna go wrong one day.
It might have went wrong if there was no cameras.
You know what? You're right. It made me pose the question of, like, are these decisions the reason why the black community doesn't own hip hop? Because we don't own it. Half of advice is like, don't come here. Just do what I'm doing, but not over here.
Not over here.
Do your thing, literally your thing over there.
Out the way.
All right, man. Yo, you tuning into the Notion Podcast. I'm your host, Dizzy D. Spill, with my co-host in the building,
Jelani Evans.
Boss Talk episodes is back. We told you, man, we're going to talk to you about some stuff. And, it's good to have you here, man. You've been,
MIA.
Well, you've been MIA, bro. But if those who've been watching this story, man, he's been everywhere. Dubai, Japan, bro. Where are you? What are you doing with your life, right?
Step it up.
But how you feeling, bro?
Man, I am blessed and highly favored. I'm feeling wonderful. I am mentally and emotionally sound. I'm spiritually in tune.
Bro, that t-shirt is godly.
Financially stable. I am physically fit. You know, my skin is glowing. My teeth are whiter. Like, life is good,
the people that are not physically fit, and we love you guys, by the way, that subscribe.
Hey, God bless.
The minute you said physically fit, I could just see a couple faces going.
So?
All right.
Yeah, I give you the game on this shirt when we get off, because
yeah.
Going crazy.
I feel like you never have to iron it. It's like, yo, it's crazy.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I grabbed a few of these, man, and I love them. Oh my gosh! Matter of fact, I got. Are they only?
Can you only get them in white? Or you can get them in different colors.
Oh no, white, black. Olive, there's some, It's, man,
that last little limit I had on my credit card, gone.
They increased mine.
I'm prepared to get the penalties.
How
for
you
this.
feeling though?
I'm straight, bro. Definitely in super work mode for obvious reasons. Things we've talked about off mic, and just eager to get to the next level, which requires more effort and more knowledge and more of a little bit of everything.
So I'm energy, being attentive, all of that.
So I'm trying to find my footing with a lot of different things that I'm doing, and also trying to find my footing with making sure that I'm not abandoning important things like, family.
Oh no, you always keep that at the forefront. That's part of the reason why you do a lot of things you do.
Well, yeah, everything that I do is because of, the family that I'm responsible for. But sometimes, and I am appreciative of social media for this, because there are pages that do give you informative stuff, where sometimes we get so caught up in trying to do the right thing that we abandon things that consistently need nurturing, right? We expect
relationships.
We like, for example, spending time with kids, or noticing that, your significant other needs a break or needs attention. Right. And we always, as people, and the reason why I say significant other is because mothers and fathers can do this. Husbands and wives can fall into this bad habit where it's like, everybody should understand how you're moving because it's for them. But sometimes they only need you and not the things that you're trying to give them.
No, 100%.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy you say that, because as of late I have been strengthening my relationship with my parents, and I got closer with my sisters, you know what I'm saying, where I feel like we're more closely knit, united, you know what I'm saying, a little more understanding and considerate of what each other is dealing with and going through, you know what I'm saying. And so I get it, definitely have to make sure that you're paying attention to those relationships and nurturing them the way that they need to be. And it's not always by providing money or this or that. Sometimes it's just actually being present.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I just want to let you guys know that we enjoy and we appreciate all the viewership that we're getting. But the crazy thing is, looking at our numbers, is there's a large amount of you guys that always watch but never subscribe and turn the notifications on. And we know you enjoy the content. So in order to be notified in a timely fashion when we go live, when we're coming out with new content. Please make sure you press the subscribe button and turn the notifications on at the bell so you don't miss anything exclusive or anything new that the Notion podcast has to offer. Until the next episode, peace. Yep, giving time.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah, man. But yeah, brother, we're going to dive into these topics, man. We got some interesting conversations ahead of us.
Man, I don't know. I seen some of it, I was just like,
Oh, man, you're going to like it, bro. You're going to like it, man. You're going to like it. So, before we get started, some of these definitely lead to a deeper conversation. So, for example, Jermaine Dupri admits that he used to spend about $10K a month at the strip club at the height of his career, making a lot of money, and he created the concept of making it rain, right? And so I know I sent you the article from the interview where he was talking about how he created that concept and how we all understand, those of us that follow rap and hip hop, that Atlanta is like the mecca for strip clubs, right?
Yeah.
But I posed the question, when I hear artists talk about how much money they blew and what they've learned from back then to how they operate now, because Jermaine Dupri also went through bankruptcy, right?
Oh.
Yeah, he went through bankruptcy to where he had to basically ship all of his artists to different labels. And that's when him and Bow Wow had friction, because he couldn't be with Bow Wow at the time because So Def was filing for bankruptcy, right? And it made me pose the question of, like, are these decisions the reason why the black community doesn't own hip hop? Because we don't own it.
You got to be specific when you say that, though.
Yeah, I am. And so when I say we don't own hip hop, all the major record labels and all the music that gets pushed into the algorithm or mainstream are record executives that are not us, and are owners of these record labels that are not us. And yet we complain. We, as a community, have a bad habit of complaining to the artists, right?
When they have minimal control,
when
if
they have
any.
Yeah, because they can record. For those that don't know how it works, when people record albums, those 10 to 17 songs that you may hear on an album are not the only songs they recorded. They could have recorded 40 songs, 50 songs in a 2-year span, or in a 1.5-year span, however their work ethic allows them to work, right? And then you have A&Rs, which are artist relations, and you have different executives and presidents and stuff come in and say, okay, these songs should go on the album, and we think these songs will be appealing to the trend or the masses. That's how an album is put out. They've been doing it since tapes and CDs, and they still do it to this day. So you have no creative control, because you are the product, and they're going to package the product the way they want it to be packaged and distributed, right?
Unless you're an independent who came up and been operating a certain way and been able to establish yourself and make things happen, like a currency, for example.
Yeah, like a currency. Yeah, for sure. And there's not a whole lot of people that are like currency.
Not at all.
Work ethic wise, and just having I think he's mastered his own target demographic too.
Yeah.
So when you take, it's interesting that I like what you did there, because he worked with JD. Anyways, but I pose that question because I know that we're in a time where there's a lot of conversations about the community and the culture, right? And we always talk about support, lack of support, who the enemy is, and we don't talk about it enough as far as identifying ourselves, not us individually, but generalizing as the enemy by not making better decisions financially to have the control that we need.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you can kind of like downplay it, like, oh, 10,000 a month, that's not bad. Like if you was at the strip club, 4 or 5 times in a month, and that's only like 2,000-3,000 here and there. But the whole thing about it is, like, that could have been put into stocks, IRA. You could have saved that money and invested in yourself, and like really put yourself in a position to own everything outright and be vertically integrated, right? From start to finish, so then you don't have to worry about A&Rs. You actually become the A&R because you own everything. You control everything. And so it's just like, to hear him say that and brag about it, and then like, wait, but didn't you file for bankruptcy? Didn't you have to get rid of all your artists? Aren't you not in a position to be musically as creative as you'd like to be because of that? It sounds stupid.
Especially when you are like the reason why there's child stars. Like Jermaine Dupri, single-handedly, a lot of child stars came through So Def. So you've actually created a lane for yourself that could have been more positive and lucrative, right?
Yeah, because you could have been the stop for, you could have been the one to consistently produce these young artists, because he actually did kind of mold them. And he dropped the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
While he was dropping money. Stupid. Like, and then the whole thing is like making it rain. Like, I've never understood that concept for multiple reasons. Like, there's one person I seen make it rain. I actually thought it was dope. One person. It was Nipsey Hussle. It was on his birthday. He was standing outside his car. He threw up some money and he put up his umbrella. But I feel like afterwards, he's like, "Hey, pick that up." You know what I'm saying? I feel like, but
you didn't see the perimeter of 60s around when he did that,
right? But the thing about it is, like, to be in the strip club and like, yeah, make it rain, and like, I'm gonna be honest, I've never really liked strip clubs. I think I've been to maybe like 3 in my lifetime.
That's crazy you say that, because I've only been once.
Like, and this is the thing about it. 2 times I went, it was because I went to support my cousin. She wasn't dancing. I was talking about my boy he went to. I went with him. And then one of my other boys celebrated his birthday, and we had a party bus, and then went to go to a strip club in Vegas.
Right.
And so I went, but I just, like, my whole thought was like, so I'm going to go to a place where all these women are skimpy or naked, and I know none of them, and you expect me to throw money at them or tuck it into their G-string or thongs or whatever you call them, and then walk away?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
That's that mindset of like going to like the liquor store and just giving them the money and walking out instead of actually having something tangible.
Bro, it's just because my thought was always like, if you have money like that, then I'm sure you have women around that you could have come by the house and they could strip, and then after that you want to throw some money at them. That's cool, but there's more that can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it never made sense to me. It's just like, and then like when we did go, you know how like there's a pole, there's a stage, and you got all these dudes sitting around the stage. Yeah. I was sitting back in the crowd because I ain't got nothing for you. Yeah. Oh, you want to dance? Yeah, I'll dance. No, for me, sweetheart. Oh, no, you keep it moving.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, the way my funds are set up, it's not going to be fun for you. I've always looked at it.
Wrinkled up dollar like, there you go.
That's a true story behind my experience with that. But what I will say is that for me, because I went so late in the game, I went like early 20s. I had already seen what they were doing in the club on social media. The only difference is it's live. When you're seeing classmates and people you know half naked, and then random people half naked online, that's what made strip clubs, and even in the 90s, magazines, that's what made all of that stuff polarizing, because you didn't see it everywhere. Now that you see it everywhere, you're kind of desensitized to the whole concept or industry of it.
Set your IG up on your tablet and just keep scrolling, throw money at it. And then when you're done, you pick it all up. Yeah.
I didn't lose $1.
Actually, it's under the table. There it
crazy.
Is. No.
That's so economical.
And that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, to $10,000 a month, like, most people don't see that in a month. So you're blowing a lot, and it's just for what?
Yeah.
Because money ain't a thing. Obviously, it is, because you filed for bankruptcy. It's a big thing.
That's a lot of money,
bro.
And then when you were saying like where the money could have went,
$120,000 a year.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a great down payment on multiple things. The thing that trips me out about that too is when you say how many different directions the money went, it just shows you how ignorant a lot of successful artists were at that point, and still are.
I'm about to say, and still are.
Because now that they know what they know business wise, where the government rewards you for doing their job, and I'll say like creating real estate, they would rather people like us, create neighborhoods and stuff like that instead of them having to go through their long process to do it. So they're going to reward you with grants. They're going to reward you with certain passes and certain access and things like that, depending on what you're doing. And you're going to save money with the tax breaks you're going to get. And so what a lot of successful people aren't realizing is the tax breaks you get more of doing productive stuff than counterproductive stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I invented making it rain. You're an idiot. Like, what? That's nothing to brag about. And then I read the article. It's like, yeah, the first time I did it, she looked at me crazy. Then I did it again, and somebody else looked at me crazy, and I knew I was starting something. No, you what?
I don't think anybody knows at that point. I don't think there's ever been a time where I did something where I felt like probably did something disrespectful or stupid, where I was like, yeah, I'm the first one to make this happen.
Right.
Nah,
Yeah,
I don't think it
you
worked.
were
I don't
because
think it
you were
works
the
like
first person dumb enough to just throw money.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw money.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't.
What?
Well, you know what I wished about that conversation, because then we would probably be having a different conversation about it. I wish there was more. What's the word? Not context. What's that word, bro?
I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to say. Backstory, explanation. I don't know.
It's a word that you use when you talk about like the difference between personalities. Like when you have a deeper personality and then you have a surface level personality. We use this word when we're talking about women. Substance.
Oh, more substance.
I wish there was more substance in learning in that experiment or that experience, because you know when you sit back and you say that somebody blew $120,000 in 1 year or annually on strip clubs, when that's enough to
establish a lot of different things.
As much land as there is out
and
here in this
then
country.
think about it. Think about at the time he was doing it. So
the dollar was worth more.
Oh, it was so strong.
So that 100,000 could have been worth 350,000, right?
Maybe more if it was invested in depending on what you were to purchase.
Absolutely.
We could be talking about millions.
We could be talking about building small towns.
Yeah.
Right? And again, going back to that whole the love-hate relationship I have with hip hop is, number one, ownership, and it's also influence, because the influence specifically has caused a lot of young, talented people led them right to ruin, either by losing it all or losing their life. Right? Yeah. And even still to this day, you don't see too many artists that are promoting business. Now, the crazy thing is they have businesses, right?
Oh, yeah. And they invest in real estate.
They invest and all this other stuff, but they're not perpetuating those actions.
Because it kind of goes against the image they're portraying.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, perfect example. Future raps about nothing but drugs, but he doesn't really do them at all.
Nope. The people close to him will say that he doesn't do them.
He's a lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said that to another artist who exposed him. Like, I'm a lightweight. I don't really do. But you sit up here, bro, he had a whole album called Dirty Sprite or Purple Sprite or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it just had food coloring in it.
Like he had a song called Welcome Zanny Family or something like that.
Yep.
And he don't even do. So it's just like, but then you turn around and if you look at his portfolio, he owns businesses and he has real estate and he's invested in this and he has this going on. You be like, wait a minute, why you not rapping about that? Because it's not smart. It doesn't, like, think of how many artists do you know that rap about that? I can think of 2, maybe 3.
I know that there's been a lot of artists that have mentioned or rapped about it, but the problem is that's those songs or those lyrics aren't the ones being quoted or highlighted or promoted.
Larry June and 2 Chainz had an album.
Mm-hmm. Larry June raps about a lot of stuff like that.
Exactly.
Eating healthy and yeah.
In that album, they were talking about LLCs and investing and moving a certain way and all these different things. And like Currency raps about it as well because he has different businesses. He has different things going on. But the whole thing about it is just like, it's not like it's not cool. It's just not glorified the same way drugs and shooting up and being misogynistic and all the women and you know what I'm saying, like, and I'm trying to figure out why, because all of that stuff actually leads to ruins, whereas in the other leads to being profitable and progressing and being able to do for yours and, you know, create generational wealth and whatnot. So it's just like, so you would rather glorify stuff that leads to a ditch?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the sad thing is when you're coming from poverty and you've seen more money than anybody you've ever seen, you're going to have this mindset like it's always going to be there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't
I
know.
don't think that's a mindset. That's a dream. That's a hope.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true. You talk to some of these artists that are now performing at the fair.
No, not at SeaWorld. Did you hear about that?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought that was hard.
I didn't. When you look at the roster,
it was the environment. Like that's what I thought was dope. Like the environment, the water, and all that stuff. But then when I was like, bro, SeaWorld though.
But look, the
Didn't
crazy
Free
thing
Willy
is
used to
like
live
they
there?
showed the roster, like all the artists coming out, and I was like,
Everyone that
it's
had
washed. They're all washed, and they need the money. Why? Because they didn't invest wisely. They didn't take it. Bro, what was that? I didn't even see the other Yin Yang twin. I only saw one.
You seen Yang?
Yeah, and he was so out of shape. Only thing shaking when he's like shaking, he's like this, and all it was his arms. Like he had this gut that would not move. Mm-hmm. Like, bro, I haven't even been taking care of yourself. Like,
what did Bane say? Victory has defeated you. But yeah, I didn't realize this until I started seeing like documentaries and I started seeing like actual coaches talk about it. But now in a lot of professional sports, there's an option for like financial classes on what to do with your money for professional athletes. I definitely think there's two things that need to be recommended for these rappers and entertainers.
But I think that's
financial classes, especially if you came
financial literacy.
Yeah.
Understanding acumen.
Right.
Those type of things, ways to invest, and then understand how to invest.
That, and there needs to be like some kind of coverage, bro. Like some kind of health benefits that you are required to pay into.
Oh, you don't know that a lot of these companies do have insurance policies on their artists?
Yeah.
But they don't have insurance policies on themselves.
Who is it? The owner of Empire, the distribution company that I believe is based in the Bay.
I'm about to say, bro, that's a TV show. That's
Jordy.
not real life.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, what's his name? Ghazi, the dude that owns it. He has insurance policies on a lot of rappers that aren't here anymore. Now, the thing that I think is cold about that, because I mean, it's just business. No, none of their parents or family members or relatives said, hey, man, we see how you're moving and what you're doing. We need to have a policy on you. But these companies kind of have a right to do it because you are the product.
You're the investment.
You're the
investment. You have to
investment.
protect the investment. And then, like, if something does happen to you, you have to make sure that I don't want to say benefit, but like break even.
Yeah, because you're the investment. We didn't pay for us to not get our money back, which it's ill, but that's the contract you signed.
Business.
Yeah, it's a contract you signed, and everybody's not as nice as
you
Puma.
rap about this. You're out here in this life. You're portraying this. You're in the streets. You're doing these things. This is coverage to make sure that if anything happens to you, we get what we put out. We get it back because it's business. Mm-hmm. It's not like we don't care about your life, but
we care about our business too.
Yeah, and if you out there in the streets, you don't care about your life, so we're gonna make sure we're covered. Type.
Exactly.
I mean, it is what it is.
And the thing is that's not big news to a lot of people. So I'm glad we're talking about it here, where a lot of people don't even know. Like most of these artists do have insurance policies on their life, especially if they're living a certain type of lifestyle, perpetuating a certain type of music. And now that y'all know this, y'all should ask yourselves, why do these rappers have insurance policies, but these actors and actresses and everyone else that's famous don't?
That's so wild.
Not from their employer.
I got whole life insurance policy on me. I got term life insurance policy on me. Mm-hmm. My mom has an insurance policy on me. Like, I ain't rapping. I mean, I give y'all a 16, but I don't rap. Give me a beat.
But yeah,
it's just coverage, just protection. It's being responsible.
Yeah,
that's all.
Well, I also asked that question too because that's how much of a liability a lot of these artists are. Like most actors and actresses are expected to live, a pretty decent, lengthy life because of the choices that they make on a regular. But when you look at a lot of hip hop artists and even some athletes, because a lot of athletes want to secretly live like a rap star, they get into all of these different issues and they get into substance abuse and stuff like that. And these companies are like, yo, we are losing our investment. We got to do something. So when you're signing your contract, you don't realize you're probably signing an insurance policy as well. So, but speaking of playing it safe, I wanted to ask this question, bro. from this this content that I sent you with Jonathan Majors and Meagan Good. They were out minding their own business, and the person with the camera got disrespectful, asking for her number.
Well, he took a picture of them two together, and he was like, "Oh, can I get a picture?"
And then like slid
and
that,
like, possibly a number.
Yeah.
Jonathan was like, "What? What'd you ask?"
Yeah.
Man, you better
You
Google something.
Creed 3? But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because when I did the episode with Big Bro and we talked about the trolling and the disrespect and just being an older person, bro. And I know we were young once too, and we did things and we said things, but we just didn't do that. And for me, sometimes I get a little nervous because I feel like this is gonna go wrong one day. It's gonna go wrong one day. You're gonna pick the right one, and it's gonna go wrong one day.
It might have went wrong if there was no cameras.
You know what? You're right. Because
you know what I'm saying?
when we hear stories about people in their prime that were famous in certain interactions, all you have is the story. You don't have the evidence.
And then on a different, if it happened to somebody like you or me, it probably would have went different. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Like, but somebody who they recently tried to cancel, somebody who is in the spotlight, somebody who does have a name and is out there, you have to carry yourself and respond instead of reacting. And so he responded instead of reacting because, a reaction might have been like, what you, you know what I'm saying? It could have went 100% different. But like you said, it's just a lack of respect in general from a lot of people out here. Like, respect, moral value standards, those things aren't relevant anymore. Neither is decency, and people aren't ashamed of anything that they do these days, right? Mm-hmm. It's empowerment, and that's like not just for women, that's like across the board, that, so to speak. I don't really agree with that, you know what I'm saying? There has to be a line drawn. There has to be a certain level of respect regardless of who it is, how you may feel about them or what you may think about them, because if you cross that line, who knows how left things could go. Right. But people don't no longer operate like that. So it was wild to see that, because even if you didn't know they were married, that's his woman.
For sure.
So why would
out of respect, when you see a woman and a man and you may not know their status, you try to go to the first assumption. She's obviously with this person for something, so it's probably inappropriate. Even if it was her brother or her cousin, it would still be inappropriate. I don't want to say nobody, but a lot of people do not care about being inappropriate anymore. Yeah. I see it all the time. Yeah. They come out and dress inappropriately, act inappropriate, and they don't care. They just don't care. You said that people lack like respect and morals and stuff like that, and that's the big problem. I do agree that is a huge issue, but you know what I think the biggest problem is with these conversations and things like this that's happening? There's no fear of consequence.
Well, because the whole thing about it is, if you do something now, it's pressing charges, civil suits.
You get to be the victim.
100%.
And public opinion gets to kind of help shape what your discipline is. Because I do believe that when things go to trial, it could be a conspiracy, but I do believe when a lot of things go to trial, these people that are involved with stuff do pay attention to what the news and social media are saying,
of course,
which will shape the way that they see things, even if they've seen it totally different prior to being exposed to what everyone has to say. And so when you say, like people will get sued and things like that, I feel like I couldn't be in charge. You understand what I'm saying? Because there would be some law in place, a provoke law. Like, hey, check this out. If you provoke this you provoke this situation and that ends up being your outcome, you are not the victim. Matter of fact, we might charge you. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy thing about it is that was at one point, how can I put this?
Like an unspoken rule?
An unspoken rule that everybody understood. Like, if you provoke somebody and they handle business, you deserve that.
Yep.
You don't, you know what I'm saying? If you swung on somebody and then they swung on you and they hit harder than you and you woke up and 5 minutes later, like, well, what happened? You provoked him and you found out what, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
find out fat meat is greasy.
Do you remember
Right.
that? You remember that guy that was provoking? Well, he was a kid actually. That kept provoking 50 everywhere he went because he was trying to get his attention.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there was a time this dude messed with 50 like on 3 different occasions. First of all, how he was finding 50, bro. I need some people for you. I got some people for you to find because 50 would be on a date or he would be like just out doing stuff, and like by the third time 50 threw a chair at him. He was he was tired of it.
The whole chair.
But he had a homeboy like recording every time he was messing with 50, right? And 50 finally told him, what you're doing is not going to work. And he actually gave him a little bit of game. If he was receptive to it, I don't know. But there was a point where I could tell the street part of 50 was kind of being tested. And dude thought he was about to get hit. He said, what, you going to hit me? You going to hit me? And it's like, that triggered me a lot because it's like, you know what you're doing. When people do that, you know what you're doing.
Of course.
And you don't get rewarded. I don't know.
I mean, you say rewarded. I'd say disciplined.
I'm gonna tell you where I got that from. MC Hammer. If you diss the Hammer, you will be rewarded.
Crazy thing about
so I
it,
like
though,
saying that. Oh, Hammer he was a problem.
He was not to be played with.
Yeah.
Because like y'all, they seen a parachute pants and seen him dancing and thought it was a game, but Hammer was from East Oakland, and
everybody that dissed Hammer in person, he pulled up on.
What?
And that's how people understood, okay,
stop playing
with me. That's the crazy part.
Everybody in the entourage don't dance. That's all I'm going to say. You take it how you want.
But they have the tools to make you dance.
No, what? Do the running, man. What?
Real rap, man.
So, yeah, that was crazy, though.
Yeah, I wish there was some kind of law there to you know, I don't know. I just,
and then you wonder why a lot of these people choose not to engage or interact with people is because...
And then they get mad. They get mad because celebrities don't want to deal with the general public, but look at how the general public is
operating when they get the opportunity.
Yeah, man.
Can't do that.
Can't do that, dog. Get y'all life right out there, especially y'all young people that's trying to make a name for yourself doing that. I really like this topic. The YouTube crackdown.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Crackdown.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. And the reason why I like it is because some of the stuff that it talked about. And so for you guys that, you know, obviously tune in and probably do your own thing, you know, Boss Talk, we like to give information. But as of July 15th of this year, 2025, YouTube is cracking down and they are going to start demonetizing multiple channels that are not showing creativity and that are basically piggybacking off of reused content or reusing content, AI generated content. You have to actually put in the work and be creative now.
And that works in favor of the creatives.
The
people who actually get out here and spend their time, effort, and money to create. You know, they're using their actual voice. They're actually recording things. They're being innovative. So, I mean, in that aspect, I love it because it gives them more of an opportunity to showcase what it is they're capable of, and it takes away from those who are basically piggybacking off of them and not really doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing because, I mean, like, it's not easy. It's not easy to come up with content, to create, to be original, especially in a day and age where everybody wants to create content and be an influencer. And so to get out
try
here,
to compete with those that are driving the numbers, operating like that.
And that's the thing about it. Like, you're trying to compete with people who are piggybacking off of everybody else's work and actually getting paid behind it when you out here. You doing all the work and you're not getting the numbers you should be.
Right.
And so, like, it's a beautiful thing because it puts more of a demand on people to be creative. And if you're not being creative, you will not reap the benefits. Because, like I was saying, it's difficult to consistently create new and fresh content and try to, I mean, like, being yourself is being original, but on the same breath, like, if somebody feels like your personality or how you're moving favors somebody else who has higher numbers, they're probably going to gravitate towards a person with higher numbers. That's just what it is. But if you're still finding your niche, right, you're being creative, you're staying in your lane, and you're executing, you will see a shift in your numbers because all of the regurgitated BS is no longer being optimized and paid for.
Bro, that used to be frustrating too, because and I have a theory on why I think YouTube is also doing this. I think they're also doing this because it wasn't too long ago where it came out that TikTok is the #1 search engine, right? TikTok.
But it's not. What?
Yeah, it's the #1 search engine. The reason why is because like YouTube used to be, right? There was a point in time where YouTube was like TikTok, where when you needed certain information, you could come across a channel that gave you accurate information, right?
Well, my mind is blown because to go on TikTok and to search for things, knowing that you're going to get videos of other people and then AI created content, how do you know that these are actually facts? How do you know that this is reputable information that you're receiving and not something that somebody made up or just they're freestyling and they don't really have any idea? Why are you searching on TikTok? You'd be better off searching on Bing.
I could give you a great explanation. Now, the reason why a lot of people would go on TikTok is because I think sometimes we have to remember, especially at the age that we're at, is look at, the way that we look at everybody on their phone.
Yeah.
And it could be disgusting to people. But there was a point in time where our parents, when they were younger, everybody was in a magazine or a newspaper.
At least they were reading.
That was a social, the newspaper was like written at 4th, 6th grade level. but
21% of the adult population is functionally illiterate. That
you see what I'm saying?
Don't comprehend, so they're not even reading at that level,
right?
And that's because you're taking out newspapers and magazines. So bring them back or something. Sheesh.
So when you look at that, right? History just evolves. It's the same behavior, but it just evolves slightly, right? So the way that I look at people looking on TikTok for stuff is no different than when you look at Google and there's 10 different sites that you're looking for the answer on, but only 2 of them have the right answer, right?
Yeah. And I hear about that and I understand what you say. But I'm wired different. Like when it comes to doing research and finding out
you know how to find the right source to give the answer.
Bro.
And I think that's what sucks for people that for all of us use the internet, right?
Right.
But all of us don't know how to find the right answer.
And honestly, I feel like that's being lazy going to TikTok because you're basically searching for somebody or something that has already done the research, hoping that the answer is right. I was always taught to trust nobody's information but my own. And by that, going to do the research, finding out the truth, reading, you know what I'm saying? And then when I find something, I'm fact checking to see how much of that is really, you know what I'm saying? Like, but who wants to do that? Well, in a sense, that's how it comes across. It's like you did this, and who wants to do all that? I'm gonna just go on TikTok and find the latest influencer, and here it is.
Well, I think that's what the problem is that when people do go on a TikTok or YouTube or wherever to find information, they're going to the platform with the most analytics, right? The most exposure, when you should be going to someone that is a trusted source. I'll give you an example. In our community, there was a guy that a lot of people either hated or a lot of people liked named Kevin Samuels, right? And there was the back and forth with his content. But the thing that Kevin Samuels was great at that a lot of people didn't pay attention to is he gave you numbers. And then when he gave you numbers and stats and statistics on facts, people wanted to challenge those numbers. And he told you where he got his information from. That's a reliable source that could help you weed through BS if you're willing to do your homework on who you're getting your information from.
And that's the thing, though. Like, people aren't willing to do their homework on who you're getting their information from.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
They kind of go with, whoever is aligned with their thoughts.
And then what's even more frustrating is that the fact when they do find somebody who is a trusted source, they want to argue the facts. Like they've done the research. But if you've done the research, you wouldn't be coming to me because you would have... Bro, it's almost like...
Yeah.
I've been dealing in shoes easily 20 plus years now, right? And I will have people like, there was just a customer, a potential client, who sent me some pictures and then called me and we talked, and had to do with a specific type of material.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, depending on how deep the damage is on it, you might have to X, Y, and Z. And I was like, there's only so much I can do. I was like, you might have to get it fully customized. If that's the case, I can refer you to somebody. And he sent me the pictures, and I was like, oh yeah, you whoopty whoop. And he's like, it's only and I'm just like, bro, you send me the pictures and I see it clearly, and I'm trying to tell you that there's nothing really, they're almost irreparably damaged. I'm trying to tell you that you can't. How do you come to me for an answer? I give you the answer, and then you want to argue the answer. How long have you been doing it?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just like, it makes no sense. So
This
it
is
gets
why.
frustrating.
But this is why, for people like that, this is why I'm glad YouTube is doing that kind of crackdown, because now you have to get on stage and you have to produce, right? You have to produce. And when you produce, that is going to separate those who know what they're doing and those who are just coattailing information.
BSing.
Yeah. I actually tested that concept a couple days ago. There was a guy that got on TikTok, right? I'm not going to say his name, but he got on TikTok, and I kind of don't remember, but he got on TikTok and he said, and September later this year, TikTok will be controlled by Meta. And when I looked at his numbers, oh, bro, the likes,
comments,
the saves. I mean,
the reposts, and then I hate when people repost when they don't know if it's
bad
the truth.
information.
Bruh, it's the worst,
bro. I took what he said. I only listened to his video for maybe 20 seconds because I was like, so what you're basically trying to say without saying is that Meta bought TikTok? I haven't seen any news on it. We haven't covered it, right? So I went to my trusty source, and it was false. Matter of fact, not only is it false, but nobody is in the runnings for buying TikTok from ByteDance. But you have thousands, not hundreds, thousands of people liking it, thousands of people saving it, thousands of people reposting it. And that's why I appreciate YouTube shutting people down, because now they're going to start combing through people's content with a fine-tooth comb, probably with AI.
Start fact checking too.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I think that's the other part of it too, because in that article they're trying to get away from the baiting content.
Yeah, 100%.
Because now people are like, oh man, this really happened. Bro, listen. I had a friend of mine, don't get mad at me. I had a friend of mine send me a video that looked very, very real on a family that was found in Virginia, right? That has been in a bunker for like decades because of one of the wars that happened, and they had like all of this stuff in there, like rations for food. And so I said, you know what?
That's wild.
I said, I didn't do well in science and biology, but I know a thing or two, right? We need sun, right? Even air quality, right? You only get proper air quality with some kind of fresh air being funneled in some kind of environment. Even bunkers, you cannot stay in a bunker for years unless you have all of those things, which requires the natural resources of the earth, right? So I said, just based off of those things alone, that would be virtually impossible to be in there decades.
He said cap.
So I took that story and I said, you know what? I'm going to take a shortcut. I went to my assistant. Call my assistant on ChatGPT Fox, because you can name your AI bot. I wanted to feel like Bruce Wayne, so I said, "Hey Fox, is this story true? It is in fact not true." Blah blah blah. It just went paragraph after paragraph of how it's not true.
Broke it all down.
I said, man. So I had to go back to the friend, and I said,
"Don't send me no more BS, bro."
I said, hey friend, that article was wrong. That story's not true. What? Let me call you back. I sent that to family. They've been sending it to people.
Yeah, it was almost like if you pay attention, like on social media, TikTok included.
Yeah,
they'll have these people. It's like, I've been a heart surgeon for 15 years, and people don't believe me when I say.
Yeah.
And if you look and watch, it's AI, and then like they mouth is moving, the sound don't line up, and like I'm not saying it's false information, but with it being AI generated, it's hard to like believe it. Like you have to fact check.
You can't sue them either for giving false information because it's a robot saying it, not you.
You have to fact check everything. You have to run everything through a fine-tooth comb. You have to do your due diligence. It's necessary more now than ever because there's so many people out here just spewing out false information, things that aren't true, things that sound good, right?
I wish we got the same content because we'll get the same type of content, but different content creators. Like you said, you came across a video where I was like, yeah, I've been a surgeon for 15 years. I be getting the ones that be like, yeah, I've been a butt doctor for X amount of years. And I'm like, yo, first of all,
that's not the right term.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, my mom's been a nurse forever and she ain't never worked with no butt doctors. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on here? What's going on here? Is this a new profession?
Hey,
is this
Fox, do they have butt doctors?
In fact, they do. They're slang for BBL doctor.
They're called keisterologists.
Yo, a keisterologist is nasty work. But yeah, y'all gotta do your homework. Even though YouTube is trying to clear out all of the BS and all of the,
but that's only one platform, right? And
yeah,
it's not even the highest. It's not even the number one search engine apparently, which is wild to me. I don't see how TikTok, because on the same breath, is TikTok owned by America?
No, it is owned by ByteDance, which is a company in Singapore.
Oh, okay. So
which is funny because Singapore is not in China, but they keep saying it's in China.
Yeah, anyways, but just because I'm like, who's to say that they're not feeding false information to the American outlets? Because they've done the studies where the Singapore and China TikTok is completely different from the American TikTok in what it is that they
our internet is banned in China.
And what I'm saying is
like our content.
What it is that they feed into the American version of TikTok versus what the overseas TikTok is getting. Like you'll hop on TikTok here and there's influencers and all this BS, but you'll do it over there and it's more about science and all these different type of things that are building interest, intrigue, like hobbies.
Something just dawned on me. I want you to try it. I'm going to try it. And I want our listeners to try it because what I'm about to ask could support what you said. Now, after a certain amount of time of putting out content, we're privileged enough to see our analytics, right? Mm-hmm. It'll tell you the age, it'll tell you the sex, it'll tell you the countries. I don't see China.
Never.
On any of my platforms, I'll see like different countries, but I don't see China as far as in how much of your audience is in certain countries. So that's kind of interesting that you're saying that.
And I've been doing numbers on social media lately because I've been interacting. And
yeah, the people in Canada love kicks and sneakers. You better watch out.
They rocking with me,
yeah. It's crazy.
Hey, look what he did to these boots. Yes.
Yo, shout out to Canada. Yo, got the slang
everybody
down.
Except Drake.
Nah, for real.
I didn't laugh.
No, I did.
Top countries:
United States,
China? Canada, Australia, Mexico. Ain't no China.
No China, huh? That's crazy.
No. It's crazy. Like
I bet you if you pulled up the Wu-Tang Clan's IG, China would be on there. They probably get
they misinterpret it though.
They get the only pass.
Shout out, gonna see karate. And this black guy's rapping.
What is the jizza? Yeah. I hope other platforms follow suit though, to be honest, because remember when I first had this conversation with you about the article even coming out, I was saying it seems like there's starting to be a shift on actual creative people and true creators getting more attention because of the damage that's being done by people that aren't creative or lazy.
And that's so wild because majority, at least half, are lazy.
Yeah.
Piggybacking,
yes.
Regurgitating.
Yeah, this is true.
Clickbaiting.
Yeah. And after a while, you just get tired of it. That's why I started to understand when I used to send you videos, you're like, bro, I hate watching videos. I like to read. I started understanding that when it came time for me to find answers to my problems because I've been having issues. For those that have been tuning in, obviously there's been issues with the live episodes that have been coming out. And when I would try to find information on YouTube, I felt like a lot of tutorials were decent, but I felt like their tutorials were geared toward making sure they made their threshold to get the monetization they need. So I'm gonna make sure it's this amount of time. I'm gonna make sure that I'm showing different this, that, and the other. But they're not getting into depth.
But they're also trying to keep you. They're also trying to keep you intrigued, like grab your attention and keep it.
Yeah, because they need that. They
have to talk a certain way and give certain information. That once you start getting deep and you start getting technical, if you're following. Yeah. If your viewers are not extremely serious about it, they're going to stop watching.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, I don't want to lose my followers. I don't want to lose my following. I want to make sure I keep people on here for a certain amount of time to make sure I meet my threshold. So I have to...
There's a retention time that you need to meet.
I have to kind of talk about some things, but gloss over the technical aspect so I don't have a drop-off. But in glossing over the technical aspect, you almost miss the actual point of the video for people that are serious.
Right. For sure.
And so that's where it's just like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, you gotta read more. Like, you know, the videos are cool, I guess, but I've run into that too. Like trying to I'm Googling for something, and then the videos come up first.
Oh, instead of an article or information.
And so I scroll right past them because like I'm looking for articles, and then with the articles, I'm looking for who published it, where it was published. You feel me? And then like I'm hoping that there's that they are sharing their sources in the midst of that, so I can be like, if I need to fact check and go back even further. But that's the thing, I'm willing to go down the rabbit hole to make sure that the information that I'm getting is correct and it's sufficient and it's going to benefit me, because I'm not out here catting off.
Bro, you just gave me an idea for content for you. Well, of course, we're going to talk about it off mic.
Yeah, y'all gets no.
Yeah, you just gave me an idea for content. Just based off of this right here, I have an idea for content for you. But yeah, we're going to move along. Anyways, for you guys that have been stealing money on social media with the whack content, it's coming to an end. Bruh, I talked about it on the live for a minute, but I want to talk to you about it, bro.
I don't know why, because I don't want to talk about it at all.
I do, because of the impact that certain people have on just being an influencer or being popular. You have an impact on certain individuals, and you also have a responsibility, right?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't acknowledge the fact that they have a responsibility. That's the issue.
And this person should know that.
Yeah, they should. But the whole thing about it is that the way that they have been carrying themselves, you can tell that they're not focused on the goal that they said that they had, because if they would, I feel like they'd be further along, they'd be in a different lane, and they'd be attracting a different type of attention than what they are. But go on.
So, Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, and you know what, bro? The reason why this stood out to me is because of how he presented this, because it's not really like how he presents.
Very tacky.
Yeah, he got online, because I went in on the live, but he got online and he decided to, I guess, expose this woman because she basically is a threat to his finances. A woman he was dealing with. Right, he was messing with her. They had their meetups. Basically,
his 3 years, right?
His sneaky link.
Didn't he say 3 years?
I thought he said 3 times, but I mean, it could have been 3 years.
3 times that turned into a year.
Oh yeah. You're right. And so this is obviously somebody he dealt with, and then like he trusted her to look after moms, right? Mm-hmm. Which I'm not gonna trust a female that I'm just dealing with to look after my mom.
You have to have a ring on your finger and my last name.
Right.
And even then, I'm keeping a close watch.
Exactly. We're not talking Rolex. My thing is that I've watched him for years talk about how the brothers disrespect the black queens. I've watched him for years talk about how it's black men's fault that black women are making the decisions that they're making and having to operate in the way that they operate. And the minute that a black woman pissed you off and did something that you didn't like, you drug her through the mud, when you could have been the stand-up guy that you've been portraying to be and just kept quiet and handled it on a legal level.
That you're challenging every other black man to be.
Yep. So I bring this up because when I first came across Dr. Umar over a decade ago, he was spitting some game. He was spitting some facts about where we're at, where we used to be, and where we needed to go. And that caught my attention, and that made me a fan. And then over time, I started disliking the message.
Because
and I started
watered down and distorted.
Yeah. And then he started losing the momentum because now the things that he was saying was going to happen were falling short. Now, we've seen the actual school that he's supposed to come out with and stuff like that. And I'm going to be real with you, Jelani, because this is boss talk, right? When I did watch an interview where he talked about why it's taking so long to open, it made sense. Because
it did.
Because we understand, because people like us that understand business, we're just small businesses. We're
micro
yeah, you're right. Micro businesses. We're talking about a whole entire school. The amount of permits and licensing and financial assistance that you need to start a school, certifications
for the curriculum and everything,
and you have to and so every certain amount of years that he is not having the school open, you have to recertify those things. He even talked about how the contractors he tried to hire black contractors and they ran off with the money. So you're taking an L with that. And he said, I had to unfortunately hire white contractors to get the job done when I'm trying to help my people first, right? So when people talk about the school, I'm not going to really give him any flack on that, because just us being micro businesses, how much paperwork we need and tax information we need and how we got to keep up with that. And then when you're dealing with somebody, they try to give you advice like, well, you should hire a CPA. I'm a micro business. I cannot hire a CPA. So the fact that he's doing this by himself, because I don't see a conglomerate, right? I'm not going to give him any problems about the school. But the message that you've been putting out there, the way that you've been echoing even similar things like Dr. Bryant about black men creating broken homes and all that, bro, you have to be the example. And I'm making this statement because it's not just about Dr. Umar, bro. It's about all of these black influential people or people that are getting camera time that have the name doctor in front of it or therapist connected to their name, and they're out here moving just as ignorant as the people that they're judging and criticizing. That's my issue.
And they shouldn't be judging anybody. You should just be out here giving good information and trying to help.
And you should be walking in
100%
in the path of the energy you're giving. So here's what I'm saying. Therapists and doctors that are not married, stop talking to people about marriage. If you do not have children, stop talking to them about being in broken homes, even if you came from one. Even if you came from one, because the broken homes that we could have came from in the 90s are different than the early 2000s and even now, right? Technology is different. Information is different. Teachers are different. What's one of the running jokes about teachers right now? When a teacher gets caught up messing with a student, a lot of guys are like, man, teachers didn't look like that when we were growing up. So that was never a problem.
Wish my teacher
did that to me. Nah. So.
Because Miss Wilson was not hot. She wasn't.
Not Beverly Wilson.
I think it was Sharon. My third grade teacher.
Yo.
Nope.
But yeah, man, I really couldn't stand that. You know, most people will look at it like, see, you was talking all of that noise and look at you. But me, it was triggering for me because you're putting batteries in certain people's back, specifically certain women's back about us. And you're no different than the dudes that you call yourself talking about. So
to portray yourself one way, and then as soon as something happens for you to hop on Instagram Live of all places and to talk disrespectfully, to be misogynistic, to be disrespectful, and it be a black woman, it's just like, these are all the things that you were trying to shame other brothers for. And then soon as it affects you on a personal level, you get on here and you go wild.
I mean, he called her all kinds of names. And okay, something that never made sense to me, even when we were younger men, when you start publicly dragging somebody that you've laid down with, that's not saying a whole lot about them.
Right.
That's saying everything about you.
And he was like, he said something, real disrespectful about her, and it's just like
her hygiene.
Yeah, but it's just like you can't say that when you have been laying down and dealing with this person. Like,
wasn't complaining about it when you was doing it.
Right. Now all of a sudden, because you're affected, you feel some type of way. You want to, and then it's like, why would you go to social media? I never understood why people run to social media. It's more of a response than anything. A lot of people commented it was a scam because it was like, oh, she stole money and all this, and then he turned around and asked for donations. And it was just like, yo, shouldn't your focus be on the legality aspect of things and making sure everything is intact and your mother's taken care of and things are the way that they're supposed to be? You even airing out stuff that you talked about with your lawyer, so to speak, and I thought that was supposed to be confidential. So it's just like the way that you're carrying on about things is...
It's questionable to see if you even really talk to a lawyer, bro, or if you really have. I don't know, bro.
It's just, it's tacky. You know what I'm saying? It's disrespectful. It was unwarranted in a lot of ways, and just the way he went about it was, I can't. I'm done.
Yeah. For me, that was really my piece on it, bro.
Do better, man. That's. I've been saying that a lot lately, and I
don't
like it. Do better.
You know what? You have been saying that lately, but I think I want to add to what that means, right? I'm gonna add some context. Part of doing better is shutting up and doing the work. That means get off of social media, stop making videos, stop saying subliminals, get off the matrix, go in the real world, do the work so that you can do better and then start to do better.
But the thing about it is, like, you start off doing better by making better choices, right?
Yeah.
You make better choices by having more information, doing better research, right? Being knowledgeable about things that are going on and taking the time to think about how these choices could affect you in the future.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's where you start. Mm-hmm. Then after you make these better choices, you do your best to maintain the same train of thought and energy and operate a certain way that is protective to you, your mental, your emotional, your financial, your spiritual, right? So that you don't come into these situations where now you're out of character, you're being disrespectful, and you are, in a sense, tarnishing your name and all that you have taught, stood for, and spoken about in the past.
Yeah.
So now how reputable do you think you're going to be, or how much do you think people are going to listen to you for what you're trying to put out there after you operate like this? It's almost like you're giving away, you're losing your credibility. You're giving it away by hopping on IG and doing all of the things you said men shouldn't do.
And you know what's really frustrating and kind of sad about this too is that in our community, because we've been through so much from other communities and we've been through the things that we've put each other through, we're very fragile when it comes to like trust and faith. You know, our community talk a good game about God, but the faith isn't in what you say, it's in which and how you move, right? And so when I look at somebody like Dr. Umar, who we know is very intelligent, and a lot of the Black history things that he speaks on and stats and statistics, that's all there. But the scary thing about someone like that is that when you move like that with all that intelligence and all the skills and talent, that makes it difficult for the next person that is just as talented, just as influential, getting trust.
You have to analyze it a different way, though. Because I'm looking at it, it's like, yeah, he's intelligent, but that's like book smart. He's not emotionally intelligent, because if he was, he wouldn't have got on IG. All of that was emotion. All of that was feelings. You would have operated differently, thinking like, okay, if I get on here and do this, I have to deal with X, Y, and Z. And then, in a sense, that's defamation of character. What if they want to sue me for that?
Right.
Then I have a whole nother legal issue on top of everything else I have going on that can push back all the progress that I made and what I'm trying to do at this school and how I'm trying to have people look at me and follow what it is that I'm doing. Right? So you got on here emotional, dragged a Black woman, was disrespectful, disclosed information none of us needed to know.
And didn't know.
What do you expect the ramifications of that to be? None of them are going to be positive. None of them are going to be good.
Well, here's a good question. How is this beneficial to the community that you so-called are trying to help?
It isn't.
Not at all.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
If you're so intelligent, right? why are you making these type of decisions and these choices and operating like that? That's what I mean by doing better. If you think about things clear-headed, and you can only do that when you have emotional intelligence because you know how to compartmentalize, you know how to take a step back and respond to things instead of reacting, right?
Yeah.
And you take time for things to calm down, because if you do get too emotional, you're like, you know what? I'm not going to make any rash decisions from an emotional standpoint, because sometimes those feelings are only for a moment.
Yeah, it's not what you feel, or it's not what's real. I'm sorry.
But how you operate and the choices you make in the midst of that can be long-term.
Hell yeah.
So you have to think about these type of things,
man.
right? And you have to keep your composure. And in those moments when you lose your composure, you need to take time to decompress and really think about the ramifications of your choices and what can happen if you go down this route.
Right. That's true. Yeah, dude. People learn from that.
The hard way, though.
And you know,
you got to burn your hand to find out the stove is hot. That's crazy.
You know, these have never really worked. Now that I think about it, when people turn their camera on and starts airing out something because they're emotional, like, you got to look at some of the most famous and rich people. We'll take Jay-Z, for example. Man, a lot of stuff gets said about that dude. You never hear a response or a react. You don't know how he feels about the things that are said about him. You don't even know if he knows, right? Because if it's big enough for him to address, the lawyer is going to do the talking. The legal team, and the PR team is going to do the talking. So, you know, you could talk yourself into a terrible reputation that you'll never, ever be able to outlive.
Or talk yourself out of a good reputation that you can never obtain again.
And that's the crazy part. It's unfortunate that the world is this way, but here's the facts. You can destroy a great reputation in seconds, and it takes sometimes decades just to build a good reputation.
Man, tell me about it.
Will Smith is a great example of that. Okay? But, you know, pray for the brother.
That was a great example.
Pray for the brother. Before we get out of here, man, I think it's important for our listeners, because I think this is a very interesting and a very serious conversation, that our supporters knows how this, I like to call it big ugly bill by the commander-in-chief that's been passed, how it can affect you positively and negatively.
Oh, you want to make it quick, though?
Yeah, we have to make it quick.
All right. So, see, because I got notes, right? But the thing about it is, like, so to our listeners, our followers, our subscribers, I would like you to definitely do your research and pull up the bill that was passed. The big, like, what are they? Is it called the big ugly bill? Like, that's how they're referring to it in the media.
It's called the big beautiful bill.
Okay,
that's the correct.
That's the correct term. So I definitely urge all of you to go look it up, to really read through it. I do have notes here,
and it's a lot of information. That's why I wanted to kind of paraphrase a little bit, because
it's a lot. I mean, like, what I did was kind of like outline, because for me, reading through all of that, it was a lot. I know a lot of people won't. So what I wanted to do was kind of like look at I labeled it the true positives for the average American.
Okay.
For the average American, right?
I like that.
Because at the end of the day, all these people who voted for Trump like he was going to do something for you, only if you're in big business. Trump is a businessman. Everything that he does is to benefit him and his circle, that top 5%. That's what he was doing. That's what he's aiming at.
He's the CEO of America, not operating like the president.
No, not at all. He doesn't have the people in mind unless those people are in the top 5%. So it was positive for the average American. I mean, like, there are some, like the tax relief that's extended from 2017 tax cuts. There's no taxes on tips or overtime now. So now that you have to grind more, right, to make ends meet and work that overtime, at least it's not being taxed.
Right.
That is a positive.
All right.
There's a slight increase to the child tax credit. So those out here who are working that overtime and, you know what I'm saying, doing the extras because they have children, now you get, you know, a little extra for your tax credit. There's something that has been put in place called Trump accounts, long-term savings for newborns, which I think is actually kind of cool. Now, I will say the benefits are delayed with that, but it is something that's been put in place that the average American will benefit from. Auto loan interest deductions to help working families, but it's temporary.
Yeah, a lot of these are temporary, right?
It's temporary,
Yeah.
right? And so then because of that, I also have another section that I'm going to get to, but we're going to talk about the major setbacks because the setbacks are huge. The healthcare cuts, up to 12 million could lose Medicare.
For us in California, it's called Medi-Cal, but that does affect you guys too.
100%. And so the SNAP restrictions. You want to tell them what SNAP is?
I don't know the acronym for it, but I know that it's mainly for moms, right? Like single moms with assistance for moms and children, right?
Yeah, let's get on the real.
Yeah, you can break down the acronym, but it's
Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
kind of like WIC.
Kind of like WIC.
Yeah.
Yeah. CalFresh, food stamps, SNAP.
Yeah.
So, restrictions, stricter work rules could cut off food aid for families with teens. So while it used to be like, to a certain age of teenagers, you would get extra funding to make sure you take care of the household and those kids. Now there are more restrictions. So if you don't meet those restrictions, if you don't, they will cut you off.
Yep.
And you will have to find a way to make ends meet, and it's already tight because the economy is trash. And so, not just the economy being trash, like, bruh, everybody's struggling. The inflation is up. So,
Yeah, way up.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're paying more to do some of the same things, and because of that, you're not even able to do some of those things. So to have more restrictions on programs and things that was meant to help you can definitely be detrimental to your livelihood.
Absolutely.
There's the rural impact with risk of hospital closures and loss of essential services. And when I mean rural, we're talking more like the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these places where there's like a hospital, for one state, major hospital for one. So
they're going to be affected drastically because a lot of
those states are red states.
Yeah. So a lot of those states are red states, and they're going to be affected drastically because a lot of them only operate off of federal funding.
Yep.
So they can definitely cut as much as they want or all of it. Versus California, we do get some federal funding, but there's a lot of stuff is state funded. And a lot of those rural states don't have money
at all.
Whew.
Because they're rural. There's no infrastructure.
Right.
So, and then environmental rollback. So it ends the clean energy support, favoring fossil fuels, which we know are tearing up the ozone in the atmosphere and making the air that much worse to breathe. So there's that. There's higher deficits, gonna add up to $3.4 trillion in debt, risking long-term economic strain. And like I just said, the economy is already bad, right? I also have a question: we in debt? Who's the collector?
I guess the Decepticons,
China.
Like,
we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, like I guess there's some debt collectors on Cybertron because the whole entire globe being in debt, it was always crazy to me.
Yeah. So and then speaking of the long term effects of the setbacks, loss of healthcare access. So like we said, millions losing Medicaid may lead to worse public health, higher ER usage, and increased uncompensated care costs for hospitals. And this was not specifically, but majorly affect the rural areas.
Yep.
Weakened safety net, like I said, with the tighter SNAP restrictions, that's really gonna only affect working class families and increase reliance on charities and local aid. And we already know that those are already running thin as is. So it's a lot. The small hospitals that would not, they say may shut down. I believe they will shut down. The medical deserts that delay care and worsen outcomes.
People are going to lose jobs because of these things being shut down.
Now we're talking about the long-term effects. I was talking about the effects of it, but the long-term effects, like with them rolling back the clean energy incentives, is slow down innovation, reduce U.S. competitiveness in green tech, and worsen climate-related disasters. As you can already see what happened out there in Texas with the major flooding, because how they have cut costs and so many lives were lost. That was a heavy one, but it's only going to get worse. Like I said, the national debt, reduce investment in infrastructure and education, risk future spending cuts, and tax hikes. So the national debt is going to get bigger, but then we're also going to lose money to finance important things that are needed as far as infrastructure, education. We'll see higher tax hikes in the future. It's crazy because, in a sense, when I read off the advantages for the average American, the short-term relief sounds good, but it's going to put a long-term strain on healthcare, social support, the environment, and the economy.
Right.
And so it's just like, what is the future going to look like? How much worse or how much more of a strain will be put on the environment, on the economy? I just said we're in a depression right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
inflation
for sure.
is higher than it's ever been.
Yeah.
The unemployment rate is wild.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we're talking about the environment, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But we're not in a good place. And so this big, ugly bill is only going to worsen that for the years to come.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say this. We've had a lot of conversations on mic, but a lot more of them off mic about our perspective with how we see things versus our parents' generation, right? And at times we've had our moments where we both shared the same sentiments on, they operate like this and they should have did this and they didn't do this and they don't understand this. But I think the big thing that's starting to be a theme that I'm understanding more is the decision making and how you raise your kids and everything is one thing. But who you decide to make decisions that'll affect the next generation is probably the biggest decision you make when you vote people into Congress, into office, even in your local and on, the big stage, like the presidency and the vice president and things like that, because who you vote for is going to shape the future of your children and your grandchildren.
100%.
And right now, because of this bill, Gen Z that are parents and millennial parents that have young children start setting things up for them so they can have a comfortable life.
You know what's crazy? We're still outnumbered by the baby boomers. They just will not leave. And those are the ones that voted him in. No, I'm being honest though, right? They're the ones who voted him in.
They won't leave.
Well, because I don't want to say, you feel me? I don't want to say that because that sounds harsh if I say what I wanted to say. They just won't leave, bro. And then and what really trips me out is like,
it's because we're durable.
If we were talking about any other job, any other place of employment, by 65, you need to retire.
Yes.
But yet and still, we have these baby boomers who are voting 70, 75, 80-year-old men back into office, back into positions of power, who want to see the ways of old come back. When they say make America great again, they're not talking about the America thriving. They're talking about the America they remember, where they profited, where they benefited, where it was segregated, where you didn't have any opportunities and nothing worked out in your favor.
Comment section, tell me what town this is. There was a town somewhere in this country that just brought back segregation. Yeah. Make it great again, right?
That's wild, man. It's extremely frustrating.
I'm going to tell you something before we get out of here that really tripped me out, and I'll try to add it to the full clip. I seen a couple videos of MAGAs, right? Trump supporters wearing the red hat and everything, in disbelief, very upset. And I don't know if these feelings came about that I started to feel watching the video because I'm getting older, or if it's because I'm a parent. But the MAGA folks that felt betrayed and were upset about the big, beautiful bill, what gave me a lot of compassion and empathy, even though I know they voted this man in office, a lot of them had tubes in their nose. They were on some kind of treatment. They have friends that will probably die because they're going to lose medical treatment behind the big, beautiful bill. And I sat back and I said, normally, right, in past episodes, I've been like, Now how you feel?
That's what you get.
You know what I'm saying? But seeing that,
it hit different.
It hit different. Of course, it hit different for me because I lost my father to cancer, right? And the crazy thing is if my dad was fighting cancer today, he would probably have died a lot sooner because he was on Medi-Cal. So he could have lost his treatment.
You already know.
Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So when I look at them, the people that voted for him, it's not even an aha moment. It's like, damn, that's a crazy way. For those that probably will struggle and lose their life, it made me look at it like, damn, that's a cold way to go out when you put so much faith. You put your life in somebody's hands of making something great again, and it's the polar opposite. Like, that's what they do to you when you've given that support, right?
Do better, right?
Do better, for sure.
What I mean by that is, again, if you're done your research and you're looking at how these decisions will affect me moving forward,
right,
and think about who you're actually putting in the office, and you went off of actual thought and intellect instead of emotions and how you feel,
yeah,
right? Things might have been different. Right. You were so like, we don't want a woman in office, we don't want a black woman in office. There was other options, but you chose to go with the worst of them, thinking he was going to do the best for you, and now we're all suffering. Yep. Because of the choices that you made. Right. And then you're feeling it now. You thought you was going to be good. Right. You're out here getting the brunt of it as well. Yeah. Now we're all in the same boat.
Yep. Everybody's in the same boat. Even the people
and that boat has holes in it.
And
not all of us have buckets.
Yep. And these same people, they're burning their hats and all kinds of stuff.
That means nothing. You should stop because you're messing up the atmosphere. And we already just read off that the environment is trash and it's only going to get worse. Stop. Like, just throw them away, bro. Like, you get what I'm saying, though? Like, come on. Like, for real, do better. Right. I sound like a broken record. Do better.
It's facts, but it's hilarious.
Jeez.
But,
thanks for tuning in.
Yo.
Because I'm irritated now, man. Shoot.
Yo, hold on, y'all. Because this it's 7 months of him being in office. Hold on.
There's still another 3 years.
Yes. Do better, but we got to hold on because it's finna get real, okay? Like, straight up.
He's trying to put things in position to, I can't think of the word right now, but put himself in place where he is a dictatorship.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why he's doing the things with Congress and the FBI and DEA and shutting all these things down and taking people out of office who will challenge him. Mm-hmm. Right? And putting his friends in positions of power to extend his longevity in office. It's rough out here.
Yeah, man. We finna get up out of here, dude.
Better hit the Total Wine. I need a drink.
Yeah, I think everybody that's listening gonna need a drink after this. And if you're at work, do what you got to do in the car. Just roll up safely. Anyways,
keep mints. A little spritz. You know.
Anyways, you've been tuning in to the Notion Podcast. I'm your host, Dizzy D Spill, with my co-host in the building,
Shalani Adams.
And you've been tuning in to a special segment of Boss Talk. You know where to find us. Like, subscribe, and start tuning in to those lives, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to be pulling up.
Yeah, you're going to be pulling up for the lives, man, so tune into those. Anyways, stay sharp, stay bold, stay notioned. Peace.